Hey everyone. So today we're diving into a really influential book, Cal Newport's Deep Work. We're going to explore how you can reclaim your focus and actually succeed in a world that, let's be honest, feels like it's designed to distract us 24/7. All right, let me ask you something. Does your workday ever feel like just a complete blur? Emails are constantly pinging, notifications are popping up, you're jumping from one meeting to the next, and then at the end of the day, you log off with that sinking feeling that you were busy, but you didn't really accomplish anything important. Well, that exact feeling is the problem Newport is trying to solve. Okay, so to really get into this, we first have to understand a fundamental concept Newport introduces, and that's this critical difference between the two types of work that basically make up our entire day. So look at this. It's basically splitting our work into two totally different buckets. Over on the left, you've got deep work. This is the mentally draining stuff, the tasks that really stretch your brain, create something new and valuable, and aren't easy for someone else to just jump in and do. Then on the right, you've got shallow work. Think logistical tasks, answering routine emails, scheduling things. It keeps you busy, for sure, but it doesn't really create new value, and pretty much anyone could do it. So take a second and think about your own day. Where are most of your hours really going? So that begs a really important question, right? If deep work is so valuable, why on earth is it so hard to do? Well, it turns out there's pretty much a full-on war being waged against our ability to focus. And Newport calls out a few major culprits here. You've got open plan offices, which sound great for collaboration, but often just mean constant interruptions. Then there's the nonstop ping of instant messaging, which creates this unspoken rule that you have to be available right now. Add in the pressure to have an online social media presence, and it's all driven by what he calls the principle of least resistance. It's our natural tendency to just do the easy thing, the visible thing, instead of the hard, valuable thing. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. In a lot of modern jobs, it's really hard to measure what someone actually produces. So what do we look at instead? How busy they look. Answering emails in 2 minutes, showing up to every meeting. This becomes a substitute, a proxy for being productive. And what you get is a work culture that actually rewards being shallow. Okay, but here's the flip side, and this is the really exciting part. In an economy that is drowning in shallow work, the ability to go deep isn't just a nice skill to have. It's becoming a genuine superpower. Let's talk about why it's more valuable now than it has ever been. So Newport says that if you really want to thrive today, you need two core skills. First, you have to be able to learn complicated things and learn them fast. Think about mastering a new piece of software or a complex strategy for your job. And second, you have to be able to produce work at an elite level. We're talking top-tier quality and doing it efficiently. And here's the kicker. Deep work is the practice that builds both of these crucial abilities. That intense, single-minded focus is exactly how you master something complex and how you produce your absolute best work. They're two sides of the very same coin. And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. Newport actually put his money where his mouth is. He's a professor, he's busy, but he made a serious commitment to deep work. And he went from publishing about 4 academic papers a year to 9. He more than doubled his high-level output. That just shows you how powerful this is in the real world. Okay, so we get why this is so important, but how do we actually do it? Well, now we're going to get into the practical stuff. Newport lays out a playbook for taking back our focus, and he calls it the 4 rules for depth. So here they are, the 4 big rules. We're going to break down how to work deeply, how to embrace boredom, yeah, you heard that right, and how to get rid of all that shallow stuff. The third rule, quitting social media, is a big one, and it's really about being super intentional with your attention, which you'll see as a theme running through all of this. First up, work deeply. Look, willpower runs out. We all know this, so the idea here is to build a system so you don't even have to rely on it. You create routines and rituals. For example, a bimodal style might mean you block off entire days for deep work, no interruptions. Or a rhythmic style could be as simple as making the first 90 minutes of every single day your protected time for your most important project. The point is, you make it automatic. Okay, rule number 2 is going to sound a little weird at first. Embrace boredom. But think about it this way. Every time you pull out your phone while waiting in line for coffee, you're giving your brain a little hit of distraction. You're basically training it to constantly crave stimulation. Newport says to flip that script. Instead of taking breaks from distraction to go do some focus work, you need to take breaks from focus.
Let your mind be bored. It's like strength training for your attention span.
And the last rule we're covering is all about draining the shallows. And you've got to be ruthless about it. Newport literally suggests scheduling every minute of your day. Not to be a robot, but to get a painfully honest look at where your time is actually going. Once you have that data, you can set a shallow work budget, even with your manager, and be way more confident in saying no to things that don't move the needle.
So, why go through all this trouble? Because this isn't just about checking more boxes on your to-do list or getting a promotion. It goes way, way deeper than that. This is about building a life of meaning.
And really, this quote says it all. The ultimate promise of deep work isn't just about what happens at your desk. It's about building a life of intention. When you learn to engage deeply with the things that matter, you don't just get more successful at work, you build a much richer, more satisfying personal life too. So, at the end of the day, it really comes down to a choice. The path of distraction, of constant pings and artificial busyness, that's the easy path. It's the default. But a life of depth, of focus, that's where the meaning is found. So the real question for all of us is, which life are you going to build?